the interconnection and the moratorium.
Our MVP, the MVP connection is a program driven by Fall River, Somerset, and they added us in Swansea.
Yeah.
Because we're all interconnected, one way or another, we're all interconnected. Fall River with Somerset, Somerset with us, Somerset with one.
Yeah.
And they're all, everyone's got an old interconnection, and they really, it's a big giant study to, you know, obviously Fall River has every time we know water. Somerset kind of does too, and Swansea doesn't. I had to read right now, but that's not the major driving force. I think it was, they have a major interconnector going under the Dighton River. I think they want to fix, so they want to study it. They want to do you know, they want to take everybody's hydraulic model, see how it works within where the interconnectors are, and see how they can actually be useful if something happens. Because of pressure and dynamics where your tanks are and all that. So it was, the project took off in that way. I just had a meeting with them the other day. I asked if they would add GIS into that, to maybe give us some, maybe some incentive to do it, and they, Fall River accepted it, us to be able to do that. I mean, if we, just to do the GIS portion, we're going to currently figure it at a cost of $22,000 with our cost of around $5,000. So the, what is it, 75 cents on the dollar you're getting. The GIS would be, you know, it would map everything that's up. We would take a hydraulic model if we ever get it, and
When we get it.
Yeah. I thought we were working with the town on the GIS stuff.
We were in the past.
Yeah.
I think that was what I used to.
Yeah. And nothing ever came of that? Okay.
but this GIS, I've worked with this GIS in my other job, and it's like the easiest thing. Once it's set up, it's quite a project. It's amazing. But you know, you go to a hydrant, you know what the static pressure is over the hydrant. It's just, you know, it keeps all the data you've ever had. You have a main break, you can pin the main breaks. So if you have 15 main breaks on Main Street, you know, every single spot you see the pins on. If you touch somebody's house, you'll know the serial number of the meter, when the meter was installed, sizes of mains, valve locations, valve sizes, main sizes. It just does, it's so powerful.
So what town is driving this property?
Fall River.
Fall River's driving it.
Fall River's driving. They added Somerset, and then everyone else was like, they talked to all of us and said, are you guys interested? Well, we'll talk.
How are they deciding who's paying what cost?
So that's, I have this here. My printer, and you don't get along very well. So yeah, that's right. So it's basically a big study. Let's see how everyone is. Big study to see. Yeah. And this is for G. This explains the GIS proposal. That's the breakdown of cost per town.
Why are we paying double those total?
Yeah, why do you?
GIS. GIS. That's the code. No. That's 20,000.
So we're the only one that's doing a GIS?
Yeah, why are we
Yes.
paying one?
Because I asked.
No one else has it?
Swansea has it.
Oh, they already had it.
Yeah, I don't know if Somerset. Didn't know. I said, will you add that in? And he said, I'll ask it.
Oh, so they're getting, out of that, they're gonna provide almost 17,000 from a grant that they received.
From GIS?
Yeah.
Yes. We're paying $5,500, the grant's $22,000.
So Fall River applied for this MVP grant?
Yeah, it's under current is their engineers.
Because I know the town's doing an MVP grant for, I'm not sure, for the suicide, right?
We're part of their MVP process, but to get all these towns together like this again, would probably be impossible because they're already doing it.
So they're gonna do this no matter what, if we don't get
If we
involved?
don't want it, they're gonna do it.
They're just gonna take out
They'll pick out
whoever doesn't join it.
five, whatever, besides the GIS.
So the issue then becomes, we don't have the 10,000 on tonight's warrant. So when do we have to give them a commitment?
They haven't, they want they ask for verbal commitments, and they ask for, like, me to go to the board and say, okay. I told them I couldn't, I can't spend this right now, I mean, I have to ask my board if they're interested in it, and maybe, I can have the engineer speak to you if you want. He's probably better.
I mean, if we're truly finally gonna get our GIS done, and it's only gonna cost us $5,000, and the rest of this, all this other stuff, you know,
What are the benefits of the other stuff?
The other stuff, so the interconnections are, you know, say we have PFAS in our water, we have to shut down, because we're gonna have to do testing. We could be about you know, or we have a major water main break, and we have to old start up, you know, like we did Taunton. We can honestly use that as well.
Exactly.
We would probably get more water. We get a lot of water from that 6-inch interconnect we have on Chase Street.
what are they studying between, with these other two, the interconnections that they're doing as part of this whole thing?
Which one?
The Swansea Summit, the Somerset Swansea interconnection and Somerset Road, they must have an interconnection now, right?
They do.
So they look, is this a study?
It's old, it hasn't been used since the 80s, so they wanna make sure it can handle the pressures.
So it's kind of like, oh, we haven't been used forever.
God knows what
But
Chase
really, we should be doing, that's one of the things we should be doing on the MVP that Melody's working on, is to study the Taunton, Dighton water interconnection, because that, piece of it is so old.
It is, it works.
In the sun.
Yeah,
Somerset,
That one?
Oh, yeah.
Somerset's older than Taunton, correct?
See, it might be, because I think the connection there was back in the, it might have been the 70s when Taunton went through its water,
My dog
its
is
water,
like,
it had water.
if I have to open up all of this,
Back in
I
like
have to turn the air
2007.
conditioner on.
And I remember-
Yeah, that sounds right, because that, these ones.
Yeah, well, no, because.
Yeah, because we came, when I was a kid, we came to North Dayton to get our water, because that was when we set up the trucks for us to use. So those are the wells that we used to get our water as a kid, that boiler water.
It's hot.
I mean, it's a good interconnection, you're gonna get really dirty water over there because it just sits in a bridge year round. Whereas this one moves,
Yeah.
you know, it's tied into Dighton, so it's, and we sample it every month now, we're sampling just the bacteria, we sample.
But the reason why was the pressures are so different.
Way different here.
Yeah.
Oh, right, yeah, it's within a pound or two right here.
Yeah.
You know, we have like 97. and
Yeah, I mean, I
95.
think it's a very valuable spend, I think we have to figure out a way to come up with money for it. I think getting the GIS finally done is a real positive step for us, especially if somebody's paying 2/3 of the report.
That's all.
I tried applying for a GIS grant and I've never heard back. And it's like my foot in the door, it's okay.
Yeah, yeah, so.
I'll take
I think it's
that.
worth it just alone for that.
Yeah,
Yes.
I agree, and then, so I think we see where we, we're only 2 weeks from closing out the year anyway, so it's gonna have to be one of those, we'll have to set up a special to vote for funding.
We're not off the trial on it, so just, if you guys are verbally okay with it,
Yeah, that's fine.
I think it's a positive, I think
Yeah.
it's something that's good.
and not for nothing, like, we don't know what's gonna happen with water 20 years from now, you know, we just don't know. And we're sitting up, you know, Fall River's sitting on a giant piece of water, so as Tom said, they have their own issues, you know? So we could never, you just never know.
So are we, when those guys go on, like, where, we have this.
Yeah.
This whole brand new plant that's, you know, never been turned on.
So that was,
No, that's a good thing.
I don't think, you know, Fall River, they seem genuine in doing it. I don't know if they want to start selling water, I'm sorry. But it seems like a worthy project,
All right, so what do you need from us?
just a verbal review.
The motion to allow superintendent to proceed with discussions for the MVP interconnection and GIS ranking. Towns is listed on this presentation.
Yes, so moved. Second.
On discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, all opposed, the ayes have it. Moratorium.
Okay. Matt, we kind of put some things together. Matt did a great job. I had been in discussion with DEP. DEP got their lawyers. He talked with the program director, and they have no problem with us doing it. They just want us to submit a letter stating why. So if they, and literally what he told me was, if I have to answer questions, I want to know why I'm doing it. And that's it.
And they will, do we have anything in writing from them saying?
Emails?
I read the email.
Yeah, the email's a binding document, so that's all that matters. It's an email, it's fine, it's a binding document, correct?
It's pretty clear that they have on that line.
Very. It seemed like it, right?
Yeah. Until someone with some connections comes in, and then we'll have to see what happens from there.
I was questioning myself, especially when Matt was coming up with, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, when I initially looked at it, I thought that perhaps DEP would have to give us the authorization to do it. But then DEP's feedback is that the district has the authority on its own to do it. So I drafted that regulation with Jeff's input based on some other examples I found from other communities. So,
How successful have those other communities been in enforcing the moratorium?
I didn't do any research on that. So the way I would foresee that going is that, because obviously it could be controversial for some people who are planning
We're going to get some blowback. We will
Right.
absolutely get some blowback.
So if there's a challenge to the legal validity of the regulation, I think that at that point, we would petition DEP under Mass General Laws, I think it's 21G. DEP has the authority to, on petition from any water supply, to declare a water emergency, and then they can impose what the actions to be taken are. So if someone challenged it, and then it seemed like we need to firm this up a little bit, we could formally petition DEP, even though DEP told us we didn't have to, and ask them to basically back us up and get involved and impose the moratorium. So I think that's basically what the plan would be.
So do this first, if we ultimately get some kind of blowback, then we'll proceed with it.
The reason that I thought that DEP might have to do it is because I found a case at a trial court, which is not binding precedent, but it's out there. The land court had told the town of Franklin back in 1989 that their water moratorium wasn't legal because they didn't get authority from DEP. But then we just contacted DEP and they said that's not their position, that the district would have the authority to do it on its own, and that's the way they encouraged us to do it, so that's the way to do it.
So what is that, did you talk to Aguiar at all about it? I mean, as far as making...
I did. I've talked to Valerie and
Yeah.
I mean, I think if there was a legal challenge, the people would look at it. Is this truly necessary? Right? Are there alternatives that would be less restrictive to the community? So that's really the question. And so, like in the second part of it, we tried to list the different reasons why this would be in place. It's an emergency regulation. The way it's written is that it will be in place for 1 year, but the board, if you can solve the issues you have, you can vote sooner than that to lift it.
So yeah, that's one of the questions. I'm all for the moratorium. My question is how long and what's the game plan in place that we're going to have while we have a moratorium there? Are we upgrading the plant? What's our plan?
it does buy you some time to conduct studies, to see what it's going to cost, what the value, how long it's going to take to get up to speed, how many, because Jim said, I talked to him a couple of days ago about how many more, just Form As. He said, I think around 200.
Wow,
Just Form As,
that's amazing.
right? Not even development. And we have 150 or so on the books that we already have to obligate. So just say those 350 right there.
it would be good to quantify what that means in terms of usage.
It's so hard. I mean,
And it's worth it to try though, when someone challenges it, because if all data will become important.
Well, I think,
I tried.
I think the quantification is the current usage data that we currently have
Yeah.
to show that basically we can't handle what we have now.
Yeah.
If you put 350 on top of that, that we're obligated to, the system is overtaxed. And I think the secondary point, to the point that you made, Jason, is we are doing the things, and that's what the master plan is supposed to drive to us, that we will have, okay, here's the document, we receive it 2 months from now, we get reviewed, we adopt it. Here's the plan that we're proceeding in order to build up our capacity. This is our cost, this is how many years it's gonna take us to build that capacity. And that's the document for it. Yeah, right, that's the document.
How much of this year's usage, the 900 that we're doing, I guess on a daily basis, how much of it is COVID related with people being home all the time? Can we compare this year's data versus last year's data?
Yeah, it was tough. Last year was a rainy June, and we had a good amount of rain. We were up before.
But
I can
about water production.
I'll have to compare like, March, 4 million.
I think they take a previous
We were, yeah.
3 years average.
Yeah, and then compared to this year.
Yeah, you compare it to this
What was
year.
that?
May was 4 million more this year.
Yeah, May was 4 million gallons more this year than the previous year.
I'll finish.
Then you probably would want to tweak that a little bit, because right now it just says it's a moratorium effective basically immediately
Yeah.
on all the connections.
Right, I think the last time we did a moratorium, Jeannie, correct me if I'm wrong, we allowed those ones that were already approved, or was it approved or were on the books?
I think it was approved and Form A.
All the 4 million.
Yeah.
So in other words, existing lots.
Existing ones.
So no new subdivisions.
Yeah, so no additional ones, but I think if trying to think of one that's that's ongoing right
But
now.
not so.
Hunter's Hill,
Yeah,
I don't know if there's any still left in Sunny's Way,
No,
Just this
basically,
guy,
it's,
so, not the new one.
So this guy is okay.
oh,
Really, that one?
that one's sold.
He's not building that much, that's better off.
Oh, yeah.
So it's that one, and there's a bunch of them.
I just-
Hunter's Hill. And then we've approved a few, like one lot here, one lot there, one lot there.
I just-
So existing approved subdivisions, plan approved,
Yeah,
existing A&R lots, basically existing lots
yeah.
that are on record.
Approved by the building department already, or?
Or the process, or?
Well, no, I don't know if we want to go down that road, because really, Strawberry Fields has a plan that's been submitted, hasn't been approved, but has a
Yeah.
plan
I
submitted.
think it's in submission with the building inspector for final approval, then
Yeah, so
they're
that's-
okay.
Yeah, that's it.
So that's this distinction I'm wondering about, when you say, an A&R that's approved by the planning board. So I was saying like, lots that have been approved by the planning board, that's just a vacant lot, but it's a subdivision they approved, or an A&R? Or are we saying building permit applications?
I think building permit,
So anything
building
that's a
permit,
pending building permit application, that's okay,
yes.
but no new applications.
Yeah, that would be my thing.
Jim told me that the lot sizes change
Yeah.
when they have to put a well on their property. The lot sizes, the frontage changes, right?
Big
Well, that's a good point.
And
Which
he
is
does-
why I think to the point, approved planning board subdivisions that have approved lots already, you're really putting an undue burden on
Yeah.
those guys that have.
Those are the people that'll challenge it, if that's the way it goes, right?
For any of these big subdivisions.
Like, look, no, the only one, Hunter's Hill and Stonegate, I think everybody else is finished. There's no, not that I know of, the only one I know of is Strawberry Fields.
So how would that
No,
fall?
that's not approved.
No,
That is a submitted,
So if you have an existing approved lot and an existing,
and all of those have been submitted to the water district. Strawberry Fields hasn't even been submitted to the water district, so that is not anything that's even shouldn't even be under consideration. So,
Not that I'm trying to stop that one, I just,
it is, it
He
is.
put it on well, then, I mean.
Right, exactly, that's why we
But
need to notify,
that changes his whole lot.
that's why we need to notify the zoning board now because they're in that discussion with them of what his subdivision is gonna look like.
All right.
So I would make a recommendation that the board adopt the moratorium with the recommendation that all currently approved Form A lots be waived from the current moratorium, and this is, the moratorium moves from hence day forward on any,
Currently approved A and R lots and approved subdivision lots.
yes, approved.
The one thing we did put in there was fire services, like if a company wants to come down, you can say, well, we'll give you a fire.
Yeah,
What about-
that's all.
What about new commercial connections? I know there's not that many, but
We don't have any now.
the way we word it, because I wasn't sure if we didn't have this discussion yet, was just all new residential and commercial connections. So, do we even need to get into the residential versus commercial, or is it just go off of this?
Well, I think we can review it at any time, so,
Yeah,
the commercial, I hate to walk away from a commercial, any kind of
Yeah,
commercial in
yeah.
town, so.
Right, subject.
so maybe we'll just.
So it's commercial subject to subject to,
Wanting, kind of wanting, usage
Can we
study.
study, but just the commercial, can we review just commercial, or is that not?
Depending on water usage study by an engineering firm.
yeah,
That's a good point,
Yeah.
yeah.
I would
Those
include
are
that.
different sizes for sure.
Yeah, right, I would include that in there.
And timeframe for the moratorium?
Well, generally talk about 2 years, a year we're gonna work our items.
Yeah, I would say I would say 2 years.
2 years,
Yeah.
minimum, yeah.
Established for 2 years with potential review after.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, potential review after all.
That follow the motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Yeah, we don't do it all at the same
Hearing
time.
none, all those in favor, all those opposed, the ayes have it.
We have the back end,
So-
Jimmy and.
You'll make those minor revisions.
I'll make the changes.
Before we sign it.
Yeah, I'll let make the change, let you look at it, let Jeff look at it, everyone's on board, then I'll sign.
I have a really good electronic signature. Good. You can actually read it.
You and I just talked about that.
All right.
Yeah, March,
Have a good
You guys had enough of them already?
Yeah.
So you like them.
I didn't have the electronic signature, but you did.
These are ones that, you know,
Have a good meeting.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Is there a motion to approve the expenditure warrants as presented by the treasurer?
Second.
Any discussion here now? All those in favor, all those opposed, the ayes have it. Public input, motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor, all those opposed, the ayes have it. All right, now we have to check.